I just can't tell you how much I appreciate this, Trevor. We have put a lot of work into this project and learning about Karen Slattery, and I'm just so happy that we are able to talk to you today and fill in the picture of Georgianna, Georgia, as you call her.
Yep, you're right. We're actually quite grateful as a family to be able to speak about Georgia. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you for taking this time today. I want you to first take me back, Trevor. How
Mhm.
old were you in 1984? Where were you living? Kind of set the
I,
scene. What was your life
yep.
like then?
So I was about 10, and my family lived up north, and Georgia and the girls lived in Florida. And so, you know, I didn't have the opportunity to know her, perhaps as closely as I could have. I do really recall that we would try and visit annually. We would make the trip down to Florida annually, and I recall strongly looking forward to those visits to be able. My grandparents, my mother's grandparents, or my mother's parents also lived down there, so I remember looking forward to that. Looking forward to being able to see my cousins and spend some time with them. So I do remember the trips to Florida quite quite well, if not in good detail. I remember very much looking forward to them.
As you know, I've talked to Georgia's best friend, Mary Lou.
Mhm.
She shared some wonderful memories with me. She talked to me about the kind of person Georgia was, but I'm just so interested to hear from you. What was
Yep.
Georgia like?
Um, that's actually something we've been struggling with because it's been so long, right? We've discussed it as a family to try and really recall some of the detail about what she was interested in, whatnot. And I think what we've really developed is that fundamentally, Georgia was an exceptionally hard worker who really loved her family. Um, she had plenty of struggle, worked two jobs as a single mom to raise and protect her two daughters, right? And so just her dedication to her daughters, her her hard work, it kind of came through both as messages from my mother, but also as messages from her daughters. Um, the other thing that they recalled was just how joyful she often would be. And she was a small woman. She was barely 5 feet tall. And Kara described her as, small body, small face, huge smile all the time. And that was also something that resonated with my mom. Um, just how Georgia was one of the most fun people that my mom has ever had the opportunity to be around. She loved to spend time with her. So, and I recall vaguely similar as well, right? Georgia would always make sure that we had opportunities to be together, particularly when we visited, even when she came up north to visit us, planned beach days, things like that. Almost always spearheaded and organized by Georgia.
Some of the things you just said are almost word for word the way her best friend described her, just this mighty person in this
Yeah,
small little package.
yeah,
That's special that you kind of have the same thought about her. Um, Georgia was your aunt.
correct.
What kind of aunt was she?
You know, that's a really challenging question to answer because of the distance. Um, you know, I recall her as loving, and I recall her as engaging during our visits, right? But 40 years ago, it wasn't as easy to keep in touch with folks, and I think I really missed out on knowing who she was, you know, as because we didn't get the opportunity to spend 40 odd years together.
You talked about, yearly trips to Florida.
Mhm.
It sounds like a lot of family got together. I'm just thinking through, my own family gatherings. What were family gatherings like for you all? Was it just all fun? Was it messy? Was it chaotic? Was there fighting? Was there bickering? Was there,
No,
all
no,
kinds
no,
of
no,
activity?
no. I recall no fighting, no bickering, none of that. You know, I was a kid. I got to play with my cousins. You know, we'd run around in the backyard looking for the salamanders that are present in Florida because, you know, we didn't have them up north. I remember shuffleboard. So it was really, for me, it was really an opportunity to be able to spend time with my grandparents. Ice cream was always a thing. Get to play out mostly outside with my cousins. So it was really, I remember it in entirely positive terms. Not particularly boisterous per se, right? Certainly no tension. Not from my perspective, at least. You know, it was always great to go to Florida.
And Georgia was often the person organizing these,
He
family.
was, yeah, yeah. You know, and that's on top of balancing, you know, the responsibilities of a single mom, on top of balancing the responsibilities of two jobs. So it really speaks to kind of her dedication to give.
Um, Mary Lou talked a lot about just the kind of mother she was, and also talked about how hard she worked.
Yeah.
She also just described to me how some of the things that weighed on Georgia were just, college money for the kids. It just always came back to, what am I doing now so my kids can have a better life?
Yeah.
So nice that, as the nephew and the cousin amongst her girls, that you saw that too.
Well, and you know, the girls remember that part of the reason why Georgia was really committed so hard to working was that so that um, Disneyland trips, Disney trips were every birthday Disney trips, right? So to be able to give the girls those kind of experiences regularly was part of her motivation, and I know that both Steph and Kara recall that.
Trevor, I know it's tough to remember, and this is something I've heard from everybody I talked to, was that maybe they can't recall the details or, the specifics, but everybody kind of remembers how they felt, in the time,
Yep.
whether they were a kid or an adult. How do you remember feeling when you were around your Aunt Georgia?
Yeah, you know, I remembered I remember it as special time, right? It was something that we didn't get to do a lot that I looked forward to. So I absolutely remember it as a special time. And she was just someone like, you know, she's my mom, but not my mom, right? Who is this? Who is this person? She's obviously special. And, you know, I only got to see it occasionally, but I remember it as Georgia was just, you know, I mean, my aunt, but also like, you know, my mom's sister and obviously special.
Trevor, if I know, especially in the last 24 hours since we spoke, you've really been talking to your family and really kind of reviving these memories in your head. Is there one thing that stood out to you? Maybe it's something Georgia said. Maybe it's something you all did together. Maybe it's something you saw her with the kids. Is there one
Yeah,
thing that really sticks out to you?
I'm sorry. I'm going to fail on that question. I Very specific memories like that doesn't stick out. It's just the things that I recall was that it was always the visits that we got to go on were just something of the sensation of a reunification, right? It's like we just finally get to be together when there's usually so much space. Um, and so, yeah, sorry.
That was wonderfully put. And were you in on some of these Disney trips?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What a great memory that you
Yeah.
have. Um, I want to I want to go back to this, and I know this is a tough space to go back to.
Okay, let's do it.
How did you learn about what happened to your Aunt Georgia?
Okay, that will be a very challenging answer to give you. And so Georgia was killed during one of our visits to Florida. We were there. We were in the state. And so we were present when the authorities called the house. And if you want to talk memories, that is a memory I do actually hold quite vividly.
That just took my breath away, Trevor.
Yeah, no, I've had a couple of gut punches in the last couple of days, really trying to remember some of this stuff with my family. So yeah, that was one of the hard ones. Yep.
What do you remember about that phone call to the house?
Oh man, it was bad. And it was one of the worst things I've experienced. Yeah.
Who took that phone call? Who answered the phone?
I don't recall. And it was one of my grandparents. It was my grandmother or my grandfather. I don't recall who took the phone call at first.
You were only 10 years old. This was your aunt.
Yep.
How do you remember feeling in those moments?
Um, I remember feeling terribly confused because I was too young to fully appreciate in the moment what was happening. Um, I just knew it was bad. Um, Taken a long time to fully be able to reflect, particularly as an adult when we get the opportunity to reflect about just exactly what happened, the magnitude of it. And I just knew it was bad. I did not I could not fully realize the magnitude of what was happening back then.
Your cousins, what did they say to you? What happened with you to your cousins when that news came in?
Um, yeah, I mean, we weren't at the house, and so we were physically separated. I don't recall the next time I saw Stephanie and Kara. Um, I don't think we've spent much time talking about it specifically ourselves, right? I think we've all had to do work personally around it, but it's not a typical topic of conversation. I have to imagine that what those girls endured was just unimaginably traumatizing.
Did your family, do you remember, did your family then stay in Florida longer? Did you leave town? What do you
Yeah, I don't recall. I know we went back north. I do know we went back north. I don't recall the specifics.
This awful thing happens in your family. You all go back up north, you know, Kara, Stephanie, the family's still here in Florida. How did life change from that point on?
Yeah. So Stephanie and Kara moved up north to live with us. And so, you know, our family grew, you know, so they came to live with me and my sister and my parents. Um, yeah, pretty big change for them, especially.
What do you remember that being like? And again, I know you're seeing this and remembering this, you know, you were 10 at the time.
Yep.
Your family grew. Uh,
Yep.
you gained two siblings, cousins, but you gained siblings.
Yep.
What was life like then in this new house with your cousins?
Sure. I was really glad that they came to live with us, right? It's it's family. And so I was really glad that they came. We, you know, we had a lot more structure developed to get through, right? And we were all working through trauma. So it was challenging. We had to put an addition on the house to fit everybody, that sort of stuff, right? It was a big change, right? But it's what you do for family, you know, it was the obvious course of action.
The obvious course of action, but it still says a lot. You know, families can fracture in tragedy, and it sounds like you all were glued together more than ever before. What what was it like for your cousins? Again, I just can't imagine their world is rocked like that, and then they're living in a new state. What were they like as they lived with you?
Yeah. The transition was challenging. I would like to give credit to my mother and father in particular for committing to that, right? I would also like to give credit to Kara and Steph for coming and being active participants in our family, and and integrating, and we morphed to one another. They changed as much as we changed, and so we all worked hard to make the new family work.
This is going to sound like a strange question, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
They come to live with you. Was it a happy childhood? The way you all came together and you have this new family unit.
Yep.
Do you remember it being constantly challenging, or do you remember it as a happy childhood with them?
I remember it as a happy childhood. And I would like to just caveat that with both of the things are true. It was challenging. There's still is trauma and hurt and pain, right? Something extraordinarily tragic occurred to us, and it never leaves you. You're always dealing with it. But it didn't fracture us. It didn't destroy us. We worked hard. We took vacations. We did our extracurriculars. We had our Christmases. We tried to find our own joy in the ways that people can. So I recall quite fondly my childhood, even with the challenges that were introduced by blending new family. And we had fun. We 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 figured out a TV schedule so that everybody could choose their shows, and we divvied up chores, and we went and we played outside. And um, for as abnormal as our family situation was, I think we made our childhood as normal suburban children would have in the 80s.
What a great gift you and your family were able to give Kara and Stephanie in that.
Well, and I'm very thankful to both of them as well for being able to come and and integrate with us, because it wasn't just my family who did the work. It was all of us.
How are Kara and Stephanie now?
Grown and significant others, good careers, living, off and of themselves, right? Neither of them live here in the same town as me. So, text messages and phone calls and stuff like that, occasional visits is how we keep in touch. But that's normal for lots of families, right? So, well, employed and thriving, and I hope happy. Seems like they're happy.
I told you earlier, through one of Georgia's best friends, we learned that a lot of their conversations, friend to friend, were Georgia worrying about her kids, and are they going to have enough money for college? Are they going to be in jobs that they love? Are they going to find love?
Yeah.
You could talk to Georgia today and tell them, if you could talk to Georgia today and tell her how her daughters are now, what would you tell Georgia?
Well, before I answer that, I want to tell you that, my mom and Georgia used to have weekly phone calls, and they would have very similar discussions where Georgia would express her concerns about the girls and stuff. And so, but I think that I would tell Georgia that she should be proud of her daughters. I think I would distill it down to that. She should be very, very proud of her daughters.
That is a powerful thing. Coming at it from my mom point of view, to hear you say, she'd be proud of her girls. That's very powerful. How do you all memorialize and honor Georgia? Are there certain things you do? Is there a place where she is remembered? Tell me about how her legacy lives on.
Yeah, particularly for my mother and Steph and Kara. I know that they think about Georgia daily. This is a person they carry with them constantly. And so while we might not have um, specific memorial activities and whatnot, as a family, I know that individually, um, you know, anniversaries, birthdays, things like that. I know individually George's life is really kept personal to my mother and Steph and Kara in particular.
Is Georgia buried anywhere? Are her ashes somewhere? And this is just
Yep.
need to know. I'm just curious if there is a place or a physical.
Yep. There is there. Yep. Georgia was buried in a cemetery in Boca Raton. I believe that's where it was, where she lived. And I do know that the girls in particular will visit occasionally when they have the opportunity. So I do know that.
That was going to be my next question for you, is if the family, visits South Florida. It sounds like her daughters do come to South Florida to honor her.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, certainly occasionally. It's I don't know that I don't think that we're often able to get down there regularly, like annually sort of thing. Um, just due to distance many times, right? But um, I know that in the last few years, you know, I know that visits have been made, definitely a few times over. The last one was, I think, just before COVID.
Georgia's killer will be executed.
Yep.
Is this what the family wants?
That's a very complex question. I can tell you that as a family, this is not something we're looking forward to, nor are we happy about it. However, this was what the state has said is punishment. And it's been a really long time. And the punishment has not occurred. And so, in some ways, we do think that if this is what the state says is the punishment for these crimes, then it should happen. And it's not something we're happy about, and it's not something we're looking forward to, nor do we think that it will provide any closure or relief or, you know, it doesn't restore George's life, you know. But if the state is saying that this is the punishment, then we would like it to happen. And hopefully it allows us to at least close a chapter. Maybe not the end of the story, but at least allows us to close a chapter, because it's been something that has been sitting with our family for almost 40 years. It's a thing that's been in the future as part of our family story for nearly 40 years. And if there's work to do afterwards, we haven't been able to start that work yet.
That is the way you just took me through your complex thoughts and the family's complex thoughts on this. Thank you. That wasn't easy to hear, and I know that wasn't easy to talk about. I read an article where Georgia's father,
Yes.
very outspoken, pretty much from the moment this happened, to his daughter, and he was emphatic about wanting the death penalty for Georgia's
Yes.
killer. Is there anything you want to say about that? Again, I know that he is no longer with us, but
He is not. And I will say that if there was one person who was robbed of justice, it was my grandfather. Given that he has passed, before the sentence was carried out.
Trevor, is there anything else you want to tell me? Again, I know you've been talking to all of your family and you guys have kind of collectively gathered your thoughts and feelings about this. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think is really important to come across from you, from your family members?
No, not really. We're just very grateful that someone is giving attention to the victims, Georgia included, but we're just very grateful that someone is allowing the opportunity to remember that these were people, and we've lost them.
Trevor, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Ashley.